Got one ground, fixing to acid stonewash it. So I thought I would include you guys in that. But first I got to get it out of the jig. We'll work on that right now. Oh, let me turn that radio off. I'm sure that was already too long. YouTube's probably already nailed me on that. Nobody here anyway, so. Oh, I got one. I don't know who it is, but we're gonna do some acid stonewashing tonight, guys. Just gonna show you how I prep for that, how I go about it. Who is in here? Let's see who these people are. Be Shady, Kathleen, Aiden, Pretty Fly. Well, that's weird. It only shows there's one person in here. Anyway, just getting this knife out of the jig, swapping belts. I always do a little cleanup before the acid stonewash. I found that the better the finish on the knife when it goes into stonewash, the better the finish when it comes out. Of course, that seems like a no-brainer. All I'm doing here is getting the cleaner belt satin on there before we go into acid wash, so we get a prettier product coming out of acid wash. You can see that's a good looking grind right there. A lot of people use acid wash to hide bad grinds. That is not the case here, but it does happen a lot. Nothing really wrong with it as long as the integrity of the knife is going to cut good. And if you've got a flaw up here, it's fine. You don't want people to see. But the sad part is I really like acid stonewashing the way it looks, so I hate that it's kind of connected to the whole, what are they hiding thing. That's why I like to show a lot of my knives pre-stonewash, just so that you can see. You can see I'm not hiding a thing. If you start worrying about what the haters and the doubters internet trolls are gonna say, man, you'll drive yourself crazy. So it's really a waste of time. All you can really do is just make the best product you can possibly make in anything you're doing. I take this little red wire I got here, hook it through my knife handle. Well, you know what? That still needs a little more cleanup. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta get cleaned up just a little bit at the ricasso. Just because you'll be able to see that, just a little bit of it once I put the scale on. That's much better. case you're wondering, that's a 4-grit Scotch-Brite finishing belt. And just like a ceramic or aluminum oxide belt, it will create heat in the blade very quickly. And I'm only mentioning that because I kind of forgot it, and when I just grabbed it, it was hot. I know it's going to be a little hard to see out here. Well, it's not as bad as I thought. This is outdoors, out behind the shop, and right there is my ferric chloride tank. I'm just going to drop this in here. You guys can watch your clocks, your watch, or whatever else, and see that's M4 going in a ferric chloride water mixture. Let me show you what we're looking for out of that, because I just did one last night. M4 is definitely one of my favorite steels to acid wash. This is the result I got last night. That thing is as black as Kyle Coonley's soul. Love how black those turned out. And it won't take long, literally 4 or 5 minutes in that tank. And we'll snatch her out and I'll show you what we do next. I don't have a whole lot of heavy grinding to do tonight. I got some sheaths to make. I got some finishing work to do. Waiting on those pins. Waiting on the pins to dry. I've got a goon over there with the pins glued in and drying. I've got a heathen over there that's drying. So as soon as those get set, we'll get back on the grinder and shake the handles. So I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures of the 3 I've already done. There's actually a 4th heathen that I've got done that I'm not happy. Let me show you why. I'm not completely happy with this knife. With the grind, the finish, all that stuff I am. It's just these handle materials, this glossy black, these were some that I made myself in epoxy. And it just looks, I don't know, man. To me, it just looks cheap. The problem is you can't get a solid sheen out of it, because in that epoxy, it's got all that metallic, and it's beautiful most of the time. But in one solid color like this, it just looks, I don't know, man. It just looks dirty. You can't ever get it. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing a rock pattern on this. Like I said, you can see it looks like there's imperfections in there, but it's just the way the metallic settles in some places and not others, the way it runs through there. I'm just not excited about that one. Let's see. Kyle Coonley, isn't it? Shane, did you make yourself some micarta Brillo pad shorts? No. What are you talking about? You don't like my shorts, dude? Now I do need to make some more Scotch-Brite micarta for sure. That might be on the agenda tonight as well. So I don't know how long it's been, but let's go check on that M4, because it reacts super fast to that ferric chloride, guys. So what we have to do to make it stop, just spray it with some Windex. I don't think this one's quite done. I don't think it's quite dark enough yet. It can always go back in there. Let me get a rag. See, that's what's weird about the M4. When you go to wipe it off, I swear it seems like it gets darker, but it's not quite as even as I would like it. So it's going to go back in for 3 or 4 more minutes. We'll go from there. Your stainlesses sometimes have to sit for 2 hours before they even, and even after you take them out and clean them up, they're still kind of gray. But I was really shocked at how light Crewware etches. It's a light gray as well. It doesn't turn jet black. Maybe I need to leave it even longer. I don't know, but the these are stainless, and they may be darker than the Crewware. I'm sorry about the horrible camera work, guys. This is not my cup of tea. Y'all know that. I wasn't planning on going live tonight. Then I realized I don't think anybody does late on Wednesday, do they? If they do, I'm not aware of it. I know Maddie goes live on Wednesdays. I can't think of anybody that goes live after that. If I'm hindering anybody, I apologize. Really nothing to do right this minute. We just got to wait a few more minutes on that ferric chloride. If I can unwrap this blade. This tape never comes off as easy as it goes on. Even if I find the end of it, it just doesn't. It still ends up. You end up tearing it up into little pieces trying to get it all off. Most of these knives are for a show I've got to go to Saturday. It's kind of an outdoorsy event. It's a homesteader, prepper, survival type crowd. So that's why I've gone with acid stonewashing on just about everything I'm taking. I don't think they're going to be, I could be completely wrong, but I don't think they're going to be as into pretty shiny stuff. Of course, now I turn around and put all those pretty shiny scales on, so maybe that was a mistake. I don't know. That's going to need some cleaning up. There's tape stuck all over that. Let me grab some rag alcohol. Yeah, so I'm thinking about rock pattern in this one, just to knock some of the sheen off this handle. I don't mind a handle being shiny, but I don't like the way this looks when it's shiny. I don't like what I don't know, I just don't like what I'm seeing. Yeah, but all those scales that I made, man, all that was kind of a test project just to see how they would turn out. And I found some stuff that I definitely want to repeat in the future and make more of. And then I found some stuff that I won't bother with again. It's not gonna. Some of it wasn't worth doing. Sorry, I keep forgetting to stay in. Not that you people want to see me. I know all y'all are just and they're talking to each other. That's the way I like it. I'm a little bit embarrassed at the shape of my shaman. This has become my official shop knife. I do everything from scrape and pry, everything you're not supposed to do to a knife. I've done with this shaman. So it's been a little bit of a a test for it, I guess you could say. It has definitely stood up to everything I've asked it to do, but I feel bad because now it looks so rough, man. I've even had to Scotch Brite the blade to get glue off of it, and but I'm gonna send this to Sawtooth Day for a regrind and then retire it back to light duty EDC work. Yeah, I really think I want to rock grind that or rock pattern that. That that black being that shiny, just I don't know, it just annoys me. Let's see what Kyle's been a smart ass about. Damn vertical eyes. When age did you start dipping? Uh, Off and on since I was a child. And I'm sure you're asking because you're probably asking about the my tooth loss, but my dentist actually told me, he's like, as bad as I hate to say this, that's not what caused it. I had a quadruple bypass a few years ago, and I've got just the results of that being having low blood flow. The first thing it does is robs your jawbone of blood flow because those vessels are so tiny. So I'll eventually have to have all my teeth removed. I say that as I'm putting the dip in. But there's no saving them now. So, all right, let's check on that M4. Let me grab it right quick. It's weird. The M4 does something that no other steel I've seen yet do. When you're cleaning it off, it looks gray, and then as you take the bathroom and wash it and really wipe it down, it turns black. And the reason that's funny to me is because every other steel, when you take it out of the acid, looks super black, and then as you wash and rinse it, it gets lighter and lighter gray. It's almost a little disappointing, to be honest, but because there's no room for me to take y'all in this little bathroom. So I'm gonna step in here and rinse this off, and I'll be right back. You see what I'm talking about? After you rinse it, it's black. That's the deepest acid etch I've seen on any steel yet. I've acid etched 1095 and it wasn't that black. So after the acid etch comes the stonewash. So get set up for that. And no, I don't have a tumbler. This is my tumbler. Inside here is water and ceramic media. Does need a little water. Hang on a minute. Be right back. That didn't take long. So now I just drop it in that ceramic media and water. Put my lid on good, and we're about to go for a walk. hopefully by the time we're done with our little walk, these pins will be set. We can start grinding, shaping some handles. Got a little area out front. I do all my can kicking. What's up, Joe Isabella? Patina Turner, you need to put that thing on a stationary bike chain, pedal away. Yeah, something. I've actually got a vibratory tumbler 15 minutes from my house. I just haven't bothered to go get it. But this also helps me get some steps in, so no harm in that. As you can see, all I'm doing is kicking it along. That's how I do my stonewash. Kyle's very familiar with this sound. Typically, especially if I hadn't talked to Kyle that day, this is the time that I would call him. So he gets to hear, I guess you guys can hear that little rumbling noise. He hears that all the time on the phone with me. So that's when I do my catching up on my phone calls. Kyle hears me complain all the time about the deer out here. And on the way here tonight, the 8-point that likes to play, they play chicken with, he'll stand there on the side of the road and literally in the middle of nowhere out here, it's just pitch dark. But literally a quarter mile that direction is the major highway that runs through this town, 431. It's a big 6-lane. But back behind us right there, just through about 50 yards of woods, is a country club. So I guess the deer are pretty safe out here. And found out yesterday that the reason that deer is always in the next door neighbor's yard when he likes to step out in front of me, that guy's got about 5 mounds of corn in his front yard. He's not a hunter. He's not looking to harm the deer. They like catching it on their security footage. So they're just feeding them, getting them good and healthy. Fortunately for those deer, there's nowhere here close that you can hunt because we are in the city limits of Glencoe. So they're pretty safe. Until they run across somebody who doesn't know what yard they're in and doesn't stop and let them cross the street. But luckily this road dead ends at the country club, so not a whole lot of traffic at night. During the day, I'm sure you got drunk old men going home to their wives after 18 holes. One thing I haven't noticed about M4 though, and I guess it's due to its abrasion resistance, it acid washes very well. You saw that. However, the Stonewash is a little different story. It gets a very light Stonewash. I like it, but it doesn't scratch easy, so therefore the Stonewash is not heavy. Or maybe it's just I'm too fat and lazy and I don't kick it long enough. But I know with Nitro V, I could come out of the Stonewash, come out here, and literally kick this thing around for 90 seconds, and it's got a heavy Stonewash. So I guess that's the difference in the abrasion resistance. So that's why M4 holds an edge so well. Especially this, I mean, it's at 65 HRC. So far, right now I'm having all my stills ran. Right up to that point to where they start to lose a little bit of toughness, just a little bit, but it's also where they start to gain the edge retention. So My stuff is run a little harder than most, which means it will break if you abuse it. But I think I've been pretty public about that fact that I'm not making. The Heathen is definitely a harder use knife. It's a little thicker to begin with. I'm not grinding it as thin behind the edge as I am like the Trailhead or the Creek Bed. Yeah, I never intended on all those to rhyme. It just happened. The Creek Bed's my little bird and trout, which I've got to get to making more of. I didn't think it was going to be as popular as it was, but I understand one reason why it's popular too is because it's going to be my most affordable option. I'm going to try to keep that thing at 120 or 140 or 120 without a sheath, 150 with. Still a great knife. It's in Nitro V. I seem to do some of my best grinds on that knife. But see, I need to get some of those. I'd actually like to get to a point where I've got some of those in inventory. Not more than 4 or 5 at all times, but in all honesty, guys, it's the most practical knife I make because you could use it in the kitchen, you could use it outdoors. It's just, like I said, it's not a combat knife. It's not something you're going to pry pallets apart with, but just daily cutting tasks. It's a great knife. And it's very classically pretty, I think. So yeah, I've got the steel in there to get started on those, but I've got to get these knives finished up for this show. It's in 2 days. I already don't have as much inventory to take as I wanted to. In case you guys didn't miss that, I just stepped on the pipe and it rolled out from under me and I nearly landed flat on my face. So that would have been good video, wouldn't it? I'm in Virginia, right on the, about 2 hours. Hey, for you guys who weren't in my little live the other night, there had been some questions about Michael Martin and his family, because they're right there in and around Asheville, North Carolina. They are okay. They don't truly know the extent of their. He told me that 2 of his metal buildings washed completely away. He don't even know where they are. I feel like if those had been the buildings his CNCs were in, where he did all his work, he would have said so, and he didn't say so. So I'm not sure. But his sister's house is on the same property, and it washed clean off the foundation too. So they are devastated. And I know knives don't matter at this point. I'm just hoping that it wasn't his knife shop that washed away, because, I'd hate for him to be left without a form of making income when all this is over. However, it's going to be weeks before he can do any work, because they're saying it's going to be weeks before he has power. How he even he told me he had no cell service, so how he got a text out to me, I don't know. From what I understand, all of the carriers turned their roaming options to free. So if you're with Verizon, it allows you to connect to an AT&T tower if you can without any charges. So I guess that was nice enough of them. The trillions of dollars that they make off of us. Seemed like it's the least they could do, but it's just weird to me, man, how, and maybe I'm not watching the right news. I don't know. I got out of the news cycle so long ago because it kept me in a bad mood, but I have to search for information on it. It just seems like it's not getting talked about. It's not getting covered. I know a lot of people are already saying, that, and I don't know if it's true, but I've seen footage where they made it look like, Trump was there. And I'm not saying he wasn't. If he was, good on him. But, everything I'm seeing is, where's Kamala, where's Joe? Man, I don't know how all that works. I'm not defending them, but I just don't know how all of it works. I don't know if they, if they're not capable of securing the location to the extent that would be necessary. I don't know if that has an effect. I don't know, man. I don't work for the government anymore, so I don't know how that works. And for all I know, they could have been there, and the news I'm seeing is just saying that they weren't. So I don't know what to believe anymore. I just trying to spend all my energy on what I can affect, which is about a 6-foot diameter around me, things I can touch. Those things I'm concerning myself with. And in all honesty, guys, if you don't have that 6-foot area perfect, if you don't have that nailed down, why concern yourself with something that's going on halfway across the country? Up north of Richmond. Because there's not much you can do about it. From what I found, all it does is introduces negativity into my life when I worry about it. I know I post some political stuff. I mostly do it just to annoy Pocket Metal, because I know he's going to hit me right back with his, and that's fine. I don't get offended by that. I just think we're losing. We're all losing that battle, and that battle is, and I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if it's just the media, if it's the government. I don't know who to blame, but it definitely seems like some entity is trying to keep us divided and mad at one another because it makes trillions of dollars online. The engagement hours are ridiculous when it comes to hate. So I'm just kind of bowing out of it. Try not to concern myself with too much of it. And when I do, I try to put equal energy and time into hearing both sides. But man, it's just so hard. When I was a kid, you turned the news on and you heard the truth. You just heard what they had investigated and what they came up with, and you heard experts speak on things, and so you gathered your opinion from there. And now it's just like, what was the purpose of people showing Six Flags flooded? That was from what, 6-8 years ago? But they were posting it like it was part of this recent hurricane. I don't understand what's to gain from that other than click-through rate. Man, I don't know. It's just all seeming more and more toxic as it goes along. And that'd be my advice to anybody, man. If you don't have that 6-foot circle around you perfect, don't worry about anything outside of it. And then once you do, expand that to 12 feet. Once you've perfected the square footage of your home, and then the square footage of your yard, then maybe you can extend out past that and help somebody local. I think we were a lot better off when that's what we used to do, because that was the only option we had. We weren't concerning ourselves with what was going on thousands of miles away. We were concerning ourselves with that family down the street, that the dad died and the mom's struggling to raise their kids, and guys were using their only day off to go over there and mow her grass, and we were just such a better people. And I'm not saying that don't exist anymore, because I know it does, but it gets zero attention. All that gets attention is hate. And I've proven that just with my channel. Guys, my My F Little Rick Henderer video is still my most viewed to this day. It's a quite misunderstood video because I love Henderer knives. I was just super mad that he had a chance to provide his haters with a beautifully designed and beautifully built knife with a higher HRC that we've all been begging for, and he didn't take it. Now, that doesn't take anything away from what he does make. It just upset me, and I made that video. But if all I had was an XM18, I'd be damn proud to carry it. So, but, you know, my point was that video, its title, everything about it was kind of centered around hate and drama, and it's still my most viewed video. You know, I've made videos where I've talked about positive things and kind of spread some love. Nobody cares. Nobody's listening to this shit. You know, just like nobody will listen to this. All right. I think that's about as much as I want to kick this thing. So let's take it inside and see what it looks like. Then send my old ass over and pick it up. So if you really like watching videos of Shane with his teeth out, this is the time to do it. It's the vertical ones. Because I'm sure you've noticed on Sunday night I have them in. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. Not really that embarrassed by it. I naturally kind of curl my lip over to try to hide it. That's just out of muscle memory from when I was super embarrassed by it. But, you know, as much as I've done to make it worse, 2 different dentists and a heart surgeon, all three told me that this actually wasn't my fault. And it will get worse over the next few years. I won't have a tooth in my mouth, so I'll have to. All right, let me put the lid back on this. I'll show you the outcome. I think the outcome's going to be kind of surprising. It always surprises me. I would think it would surprise you guys. So, you saw how much I kicked this around out there in a tube full of ceramic media. And there is very little stonewash to that. I mean, in all honesty, it's almost non-existent, but you can see some light stonewash marks. But man, it's yeah, you kind of see some of them there sparkling a little bit. But it is very light. But on this blade, I think it looks great. So this one's ready for handles. I'm going to do something a little different. I've done all these fancy handled knives, so I'm going back to the Brazilian hardwood on that one with the rock texturing in it, just in case somebody wants some more, you know, more rough and tumble, manly, outdoors looking apparatus. So let's check those pins, see if they've set. If they have, we can start shaping the handles on these knives. Yep, that was, yep, they're hard as a rock. Good deal. So we can, that gives us something else to do. When you're trying to make knives, that's one of the most important things, is getting a process to where multiple things are happening at one time. If you don't have multiple things happening at one time, man, it will take you forever. So while I was out there picking that cube, I made sure something else was going on, and that something else was the epoxy setting up on these pins that I now have to saw off and then grind down and finish these handles. As short as those were, guys, I could have just went straight to the grinder and ground them off. But there's something about those G10 and the micarta pins as well. They get super hot when you try to grind them down to flush. And when they do that, it can actually heat the glue around the pin and cause it to come loose. It can heat the glue, cause the scale to come loose. I've only had that happen once, and that was with brass pins. Those brass pins get flaming hot, and even when you dip it, it doesn't cool them off. They retain heat so well. Just like that, they're nice and flush and clean. This force grip Scotch-Brite belt, I don't know what grit it equals to. Man, it is aggressive. It will remove metal quickly. Already got it flush on the spine. I mean, these scales were trimmed pretty close, so I didn't leave a whole lot to have to do. As soon as you start seeing sparks, you know that you're flush and you're into metal. I know what causes it. Even though this produces more of the dust than flying particles, but it does suck when it gets in your eyes. Second's pretty much done. This one was super simple because it's, just a broomstick shaped handle. So there's really nothing very technical to be done there. I'm going to warn you guys, this part is going to be loud. This particular grinder, I think, has a bad bearing in it, and it screams. Luckily, I don't have to use that thing very long because it is annoyingly loud. And I go from there to this little Scotch-Brite wheel right here, which has been a lifesaver, man, since I've discovered this thing. It cleans up everything well. I can chamfer my edges with it, but it's not overly aggressive. Just want you to see the difference in that, so that you can see, other than the aluminum running through that, it's kind of dull. That really puts a sheen back into it. I don't know if you can see that where I chamfered that edge. It's not a hard roll, but rounds it off just enough to make it comfortable. This may have been kind of an unfair one to do because this is done, but that's just because this is such a simple handle shape. Now it's nice and chamfered, feels good in the hand. The handle itself is not super grippy, but with that jimping, you get plenty of grip on it. Next, we'll do something a little more challenging. This was, like I said, these are a lot more simple. Which, you know, sometimes simple's good. You get tired of working on everything that's a pain in the ass. But 29 people, see who else? Paul Mills is here, Jeffrey Dawson, Carco, Knives and Pizza. All right. It says happy birthday. It's not my birthday, but I'll take it. I'm sure he's talking to somebody else. So I got my pins pretty flush. As you can see, there's a lot of excess to cut off this one. Actually, I need to cut about 1 inch I'm not going to take the camera back over there. I'm just going to go over and wipe that off right quick. I did a horrible job on that, but get this fired up, get the shape in this one. Come on, guys. I'll do a little more. Guarantee you I know what Kyle Cooley's thinking right now. Thinking, turn the speed down. My muscle memory's gotten pretty good at that part. got it shaped. Stuff is beautiful when it's wet. You put a polish on it when it's done. It's stunning. Unfortunately, we had to go back to this loud piece of shit again. This is 600 grit, so that's how I get it nice and slick. Good enough for government work. Guys, I forgot, that's been a heather. There is one other step, kind of a scary step that I have to do. As you can see, there's jimping in that pommel, and there's a jimp right there. So I've got to go back and take my grinder and actually cut that out. It's worked out really great so far every time I've had to do it, so maybe there won't be any issues. I sure hope not. I'd hate to ruin a knife this late in the process. Because with a 4.5-inch angle grinder, you can absolutely ruin some stuff if you're not careful. Especially with my bad eyesight. Every time I do that, I usually make sure I deepen that jimp just a little bit. I just like the way it looks when the handle runs up on it. And thanks to this $15 savior, that's all this was, 15 bucks. It cleans that up almost instantly. Best thing about this thing, as well as it does its job, you can actually bump it and it doesn't hurt you. I wouldn't hold my finger there for long. And just like that, that one's done. A little bit of 1,000 grit hand sanding. Well, I guess we can go ahead and do that. Fortunately, if you get the majority of it on that little Scotch-Brite wheel, you don't have to do a whole lot of this 1,200 grit hand sanding. So that's the big plus. Because hand sanding sucks. And whatever hobby you're doing, nobody wants to spend a bunch of time hand sanding. Man, it really brings that pop out in this material. I definitely want to get some more of this in different colors, but guys, this stuff is not cheap. I think I gave $85 for a little block of it. I got 3 knives out of it. When you can get that same number of scales out of micarta for about $5. Well, 3 scales, you probably have about $10. Yeah, very nice. Forgot to, as you can see, the spine and the handle is shiny, and that the blade is dark, so I need to match those. Plus, that softens the edges of it a little bit. I'll put all my nearly done units over here together. There's still touch-up work that needs to be done on all of them. Some of them are a little closer to ready to go than others, but they definitely still need to be cleaned up. There's oil on the blades, stuff like that. It's let me get these set up so I can kind of show you what I've got to take to the show. No, that's not exactly fair because not all these are going to the show, but So that knife right there actually belongs to Mr. Bobo Schnoggins. You can see the difference between using those G10 liners and not using them. It looks way better with them, but I didn't have any more of that blue. But I've got all these ready for final touch up. That one's going to need a good bit. This didn't turn out like I wanted it to. It's not near enough. There's just not enough green in it like I wanted. There's Scotch-Brite pad in there, which really adds to the strength of it, but with this color, it just muddied it up. But I'm going to have to Scotch-Brite pad this entire blade and acid wash it because it's bad. You can see with that shiny hide, it picks up all the, yeah, I don't like that. We're going to take that over here. We're going to do a rock pattern on it, and you know what? If we hate it, and it don't sell this weekend, I'll bring it home, grind the handles off, and do something different. I don't know if you guys can see where I'm at. This is kind of my epoxy station. You can tell there's epoxy everywhere, even though I put down tape. I don't know, man. I'm a messy worker. I always have been. I've just kind of accepted it. Let's see if we ruin this one. Really no way to run it because I hate it already. I'm gonna rinse that off, see what it looks like. Well, really can't tell because we got to go back to the buffer and clean those grooves up. But for now, I'm going to rock with it and keep going. Still 20 of y'all in here. Man, y'all are bored on a Wednesday night. Kyle's taking notes so he can tell me what I did wrong. How to do it better next time. All right, the jury's still out. Still don't know if I hate it or not, but let's find out. Let's wash it off. I think I like it better than it being shiny, if that means anything. That high gloss just didn't pop on the solid black like I'd hoped it would. Let me roll it down. Well, I like it better than it was. It definitely took that slickness out of the handle, gave it more grip. But what really matters is, in the end, is that somebody in Camden, Tennessee likes it. That's what really matters. Listen, I still got sheaths to make. Still got a lot of cleanup work to do on several of them. Like I said, I've even got one that's got to be completely. You see this stain down here? That whole knife's going to have to be stripped back. Not the handles, but the blade's going to be stripped back down and re-acid stone washed, because those won't come off. They won't come off with acetone. Don't really know what it is. Don't know what I did. So I guess I can go ahead and do that. Which is not fun. It's just kind of heartbreaking that you're having to strip something off that you've already done. However, because I'm using this coarse grip belt, it's coming off very quickly. In case you were ever wondering what it takes to get an acid stone wash off, Scotch-Brite quartz belt will strip it off almost instantly. I don't know, maybe I'll just leave it that. I mean, everything else I'm taking is acid stone wash. Maybe somebody don't like black blades. I don't think it looks bad at all, so actually. Not bad at all. You know what, guys? I think I am going to leave this satin. I think this one. Well, it's not just necessarily that this one looks better satin. It's just that I don't have any satin blades to take, so couldn't hurt. Be my luck, I take it, and everybody wants a satin blade. So I've got, as of right now, to take to the show, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to make sheaves for. That was my plan, was to take 8. If I can sell 8, man, I'll be tickled to death. I doubt I do, but my only real regret is that I don't have a creek bed to take with me, one of my little bird and trouts. That's I don't have the steel, any hardened steel to make one. Who all I got in here? See, Cheeto's still here. Popey, I don't know who Popey is. How much for that green one? With a sheath, those are 200. Green satin. Look, really, yeah, I like it too now that I see it, Jeffrey. But I can't, as bad as I hate to say this, none of them are for sale right this minute. They may be for sale on Monday. But I have to have inventory to take up there. I have to have something for people to see, even if they make orders and, you know, if they want something totally different. Let's go check on this one. I've got one over here in the clamp. Should be glued up solid by now. Yeah, I guess we could do some shaping on this. Some cleanup. This one I actually made for myself. This is a large homestead. That's about a 5-inch blade. I gotta turn the fan back on. snowstorm in here. Leaf blower, it's the best tool in the shop. Back to this loud son of a bitch. Minus the dust, already you can see how nice that finishes up. Blade needs a little cleanup. Like a little slicker finish on these, because you know, they are intended for food prep. So we're going to go up to a more fine belt. Finish that blade up a little more. I can't believe there's still this many people in here. The only thing I hate about doing these is that I can't communicate with you guys on what you are saying. You know, and I guess I'm officially an internet nerd, so you guys are the only friends I have. Not counting Meathead, of course. Again, I want that slick finish so the food doesn't stick to it. I know what Donnie's thinking, that chain grinding one-handed again. These are so thin. If you apply any pressure, they'll bend. Slightly larger version of what Tina Turner and I don't remember who all bought these. Tina Turner, Broke Ass Knives. Somebody else got one. Big Shady. They're a little smaller than this. This is actually one, and I may still keep it for myself, but I'm going to take it to the show to have something to show anyway. So. If it doesn't sell, it's not going to hurt my feelings at all. Because I kind of want to keep this one. So set that one up there, and then I got to go to the car. That's crazy. They're all sitting here getting dirty just laying there. I don't know if I want to start sheath making tonight. I may save that for tomorrow, and that be all I have to do is make sheaths. And clean up again. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm constantly having to re-clean the knives. Sorry guys, I'm getting stuff out of the car that I should have brought in earlier and didn't. You know, it is weird to me. I see guys do these vertical lives and get tons of views, which I don't care at all about. But I always wonder how they get all these views from people that have never been there before and stuff. Mine just get, 30, 40 people show up. Just the normal people I know. Maybe it's because I'm not hashtagging and doing all that popular shit you have to do to get views on your videos. I don't know enough about it. Of course, I would expect anybody that doesn't know me would probably come in here and be here about 8 seconds and leave. I do got some somewhat exciting news. I got more epoxy in. I'll just let you guys read this. There's a bunch of different colors, and it's all glow-in-the-dark pigment. So glow-in-the-dark scales are coming. Gonna be a couple weeks. I'm not ready to have an epoxy knife. I typically save epoxy work for when I ran out of metal or something to grind or whatever. I don't have anything productive to do. That's usually when I start doing epoxy work. And I bought a scale so that I can more accurately mix my epoxies because, well, I'll show you why. I'll show you these scales. These are really pretty, but watch. Apparently I did something wrong. So those are garbage. Some of that fine, kind, Kyle Cool packaging takes you 15 minutes to get in your shit. But it did show up, and I'm sure it's not damaged. So. Appreciate that, Kyle. It's a stark contrast to my shipping, to say the very least. Oh, I didn't even remember this, but yeah, I don't have to make sheaths for these. I already did. Kind of shitty, in all honesty. Maybe I will make another one for this one. This looks pretty bad, though. Yeah, that ain't worth it down. This one, not so bad. Jesus Christ, guys, look at this edge. I don't know if I can get it in focus. Look at this edge Kyle put on this fucking knife, man. And what's really impressive about, God almighty, dude, is that that's some fucking hard 154 CM. That is a beautiful edge Kyle did. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, that one needs a little more retention too. So, I don't think I gotta scrap it. I just got to add a little more pinch right there. So, a lot of scale work coming up. I'm trying to make up my mind if I want to try to get another well, I've only got the one goon to take with me. I guess I've got the belts. I guess I could knock another one out. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Because that red goon belongs to Jeffrey Dawson. And that beautiful heathen belongs to Bobo Schnoggins. So those two aren't going with me. So what does that leave me with to take? That leaves one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I ain't going to bed anytime soon. I might as well grind another goon. And yeah, because I remember I said that I wanted another one that had that just had the Brazilian hardwood scales, because I don't want somebody's machismo keep them from buying a knife because it's fancy and shiny. So I better offer them an option. I'm not even gonna put that belt back on. I'm doing it before we're going to use. Give me this body screen here. Dude, I love the way that high temper looks. I wish I could keep that. I'm sure there's a way to have that finish, but I don't know how to do it. I just looked out there at that ferric chloride tube. Guys, I have nightmares. I'll wake up in the middle of the night thinking that I left a knife in that acid bath. I don't know why, but it happens all the time, and I'll freak out thinking that I left it overnight in acid and that I ruined the knife. But there's not one in there. When you start with a brand new 36 grit ceramic, dude, it's like getting pelted with rocks off the back tire of a Chevy truck. It will beat you to death. You might remember what I did with my safety goggles? I'm the worst world's worst, set shit down. They're not been able to find it 2 minutes later. Because I ain't turning that on without goggles. Glasses. I regret being so uncoordinated and messy. I do clean up at night before I leave. Man, I can destroy this place in just a matter of minutes when I get here. Maybe I took them off over here. Because I don't see them back there. No. What are we talking about? Mayhead does have a beautiful shop, and I am extremely fortunate to be able to use it. That's why I have to make sure I clean up every night before I leave. I'm really taking up too much of his space. I got to get some cabinetry or like a filing cabinet, something that I can coordinate all my stuff and free up some of his space. So I've got my big grinding table over there, and then I've got, this whole area over here that I'm finishing up. I don't need all that. I've just scattered stuff. Kind of made it that way on accident. I can't find my safety belt. I don't know if I've been grinding or not. I actually remember when I took them off and set them down, I thought, that's probably not a good place to set them because I will forget where I put them. And damn if I didn't. But I don't think there's any more here. So we might not be grinding tonight. I had to check, make sure they weren't on top of my head. That would have been funny. You guys were all sitting there typing. They're on your head, dummy. I got so many belts everywhere, dude. I keep hanging on to these used belts because they'll still do shaping. They'll do a lot of stuff. They just they get to a point where they suck at bevel grinding. It's just so hard to throw them away at $10 a piece. Put this cap back on this ferric acid. But I was somewhere, I remember I was somewhere when I took them off. I remember I wasn't somewhere I would think to look. So let me go check, Kyle. Unfortunately, you're rarely wrong when it comes to stupid shit I do. I don't even remember being over in this area. I don't know how big this shop is, man. There's 3 bay doors you can get a dump truck in, and then that whole 4th bay don't even have a door. It's a big place. He's very proud of it too. I don't blame him. Just to show y'all, they're now adding an apartment out here. A 3-bedroom full apartment. They're going to live in it while their daughter goes through her softball career. Her daughter's like a softball phenom. Already got colleges looking at her at like 12 years old. But they know they're going to spend a lot of money in travel and all that stuff with that. So he had already built this place. The plan was to sell their home. The plan was to sell their home because he built this place on his own. Then they were going to sell their home and build a nice home here on this same property. But while Meathead does well for himself, he can't afford to do that and pay for all this travel she's about to have to do. So they're building the apartment. The plan was always to build the apartment. They were going to build an apartment onto the side of the shop and live in it till they sell their house and build their new one. Well, now the plan is to stay in the apartment until her softball career is done, whatever. And I just broke them. God almighty. I don't know that I broke them, but I popped the lens out. Oh, that was easy. So anyway, they're going to stay there until she's done with college and stuff. That's 10 years from now. Are we lined up? Let's crank this bitch up. One thing you always have to remember is get your belt cracking where you need it. Your plunge grind don't get all jacked up. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. This thing fixing to sling gravel, man. I do need a full face shield with a respirator. I guess I'll, when I get home tonight, they got one on Amazon. It's like 80 bucks. Probably gonna go ahead and order that. That's another great thing about working with M4. It tempers such a high temperature, over 1,000 degrees. You ain't got a difference here. So I'm still good out of habit. So I can bring the temperature very low. I forgot to store my center line. I don't know if that'll show up. I don't think it's showing up. There should be a shiny little line running right down the center of that blade. That tells me where to stop grinding. This will actually work out good. I can glue the scales up on this tomorrow while I'm waiting on Kydex to heat up in the oven. by the time I get all those sheets done, because of those little intermissions, I'll have time to have this one finished ready for a sheet. I love when there's a nice flat, pretty bubble line growing right up that spot, that blade. In case you're wondering what I'm doing when I take it off the work rest, I'm dipping in water. I don't know if you guys can see well enough that I'm kind of avoiding from about here out, because it's already at the center line. Just because this blade is so much smaller here, it removes material a whole lot faster. You have to watch for that. You can be watching the center line at the ricasso and actually grind past it up here. What little is left, I'm saving for the very end so that I can make full sweeps to, flatten out that whole thing, make it all uniform. Looks like I might have had my angle perfect. We're almost at the spine, as you can see, and I'm almost at the center line. It's amazing what a brand new 36 grit belt will do. go back to the subject, but did you guys see the fucking edge Kyle Cooney put on that knife? I hope the camera served it justice, because it is gorgeous. Granted, it was a little wide, but that was my fault. I didn't get that one down as thin as I should have. Looking back on it now, I'm glad I didn't. For a bushcraft knife, it don't need to be that thin behind the edge. You guys want to know why you don't see a whole lot of other makers doing videos of them grinding? Because they're not doing any. They're just buying ground blanks from New Jersey steel bearings and selling to you as custom knives. Fit and finish better? Probably, but it's made by a machine. Everything slows down. As you can see now, I'm grinding a full over 1.25 inches of steel at a time. That entire bevel's touching the belt, so your progress slows down tremendously. That's why you're not seeing that bright thing of sparks coming off. It's not removing as much. I actually think I got the angle perfect. It looks like it's going to hit the spine and the center line at the same time. Very unusual. don't really have to do those lines because I know I don't have any convex in it. I just like doing it. As you can see, one pass, you're completely gone. That tells you that is an absolutely perfect flat grind. Alright guys, we're actually starting to hit the jump area now, so we're extremely close. So the last thing I'll do tonight, after I get this ground, I'll drop it in the ashes, have it ready for scale tomorrow. It really breaks my heart, guys. There's a guy out there that I know for a fact has a brand new 2x72 grinder that was gifted to him. Instead of ever taking it out of the box and making any fucking thing, he's having knives made in China instead. What does that tell you? He has no passion about knives. He only has a passion for your money. Because it was all handed to him. He's had that 2x72 for what, Kyle? 3-4 years? Then makes excuses that he can't use it because of where he lives. He wants to tell you guys how to be a man, and he lives with in the basement of his wife's parents' home. gonna mention who this guy is. Many of you know. Hey, there's Jason Horton. Depends on how crippled. I don't know if you guys are still here. Every night it seems like the chat just stops. I have no idea who he's talking about. Paul, I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't want to fight the dude because I'm old. I get my ass whipped. But you ask around, you'll figure it out. A very popular YouTuber with a whole bunch of subscribers who's gifted a bunch of knives, gifted a tube of 72s, everything needed to make knives. So he don't really care about knives, he just wants that Chinese money. Your money. He did have a knife made by TKL, which is an American maker. Well, it's an American company. Have you ever seen TKL make anything? You've seen him bolt scales on. Have you seen him run a grinder? No. I can do that too, man. I can borrow about $5,000 and have a bunch of shit made and shipped to me and market myself and have a successful knife company too, I guess. Doesn't that sound a whole lot like paying somebody else to fuck your girlfriend? What's the point? You're wondering why I stop and use the micrometers every now and then, because I know this blade stops 125, so I want to see where my thickness right at the edge is. So right now it's at 70, so that means I've removed 55,000. So if I move 55,000 from the other side, that's 110,000. That leaves me 15,000 behind the edge. What that tells me is I'm where I need to be. I'm going to make one more pass and stop. that's about exactly what I want on these, about 15 thousandths behind the edge. On this particular model. That camp cook knife I did earlier, it's about 7 thousandths behind the edge. And that's fine, it started out a lot thinner anyway. I don't want to say it's a delicate knife, but it would be easy to break. It's ground so thin, but that also means it cuts incredibly well. This will cut good. At 15 thousandths, that's thinner behind the edge than a TRM. You guys love talking about how slicey they are. I love TRM, love Marianne, love everything about that company. However, their bevels aren't ground very deep. They start out with a thin blade material, but they don't grind it all that thin. Just look at the plunge grind, how shallow it is. They end up about 20 thousandths behind the edge. For the most part, the ones I've measured. Great pocket knife though, man. Highly recommend them. Some people might say that I'm over grinding these for fixed blades. They may be right, but it depends on what you want to use it for. I'll be honest with you guys, I'd rather hear that somebody broke one of my knives than hear that they bought one and it wasn't as slicey as they wanted it to be. I've already had that happen once. He's in the chat actually. And I'm gonna have to make it up to him in the future, but Paul wanted a super slicey knife, but all I had in the works at the time was a knife that wasn't really designed for that. I ground a piece of 1/8" steel as thin as I could possibly grind it, but it's still not as slicey as he wanted. In all honesty, it was my fault. I should have talked him out of buying it because it was the wrong model for that. I don't know that he could get an 1/8" thick fixed blade any thinner behind the edge than what that one is, but we'll make up for it. Especially when we get that contact wheel, we can start doing those big hollow grinds. Unfortunately, we're monetarily a little far away from that right now. Honest, the reason we're so far away from it is my profit margin is not high enough on my knives. I'm not making enough per knife to really move forward. I'm only making enough to make the next batch. I've got to go up some so that I can start improving the equipment. Or I guess I could just get them made in China. One thing I can tell you about knife making, if you decide you want to get into it, you better be prepared for hours of monotonous standing in front of a grinder. And I will admit, it's hard to stay motivated to stand here and do this for hours at a time. I've been here since 6 p.m. I didn't go live till, I don't know, I don't even remember what time it was. When I got ready to do something other than grind. Here I am, back to grinding. As always, on this second side, climbing much slower. I guess that's just because the belt is not as aggressive as it was when I started. I'd love to be able to get to a point where I can afford a belt per bevel. These belts will still be plenty good for shaping all that steel I've got on the table over there. So you know what? It's the last knife I got today. I'm going to go ahead and put that new belt on because all these belts are going to be used to shape all those future knives over there. It really don't matter. I don't have any bevels to grind for. Probably the last bevel I'll grind for a couple of weeks. It'll all be shaping and finishing and all that good stuff. And I can kind of tell that belt wasn't cutting that much, and I can start to see it. You see the black stuff built up in it. I say black stuff, metal. But as soon as you get off of something flat like a bevel, when I go to shaping it, grinding an edge, it will immediately remove all that. There's nothing you can do about it building up while you're grinding bevels. It's just part of it. And this should speed us up a good deal. Speed is not usually a huge concern for me, but I'd like to go home tonight. This knife wasn't planned. It was kind of last minute since you guys had hung around. There's still 15 of you, so since y'all hung around, I figured I'd do one more. Look how fast that jumped up there, dude. That went all the way to the spine all of a sudden, just because of the new belt. Now all I gotta do is get that center line down to 15 thou. And this one will be done. I was thinking the other night when I said that I haven't really noticed that big of a difference in material usage grinding like hard M4 versus Nitro V. That what I just did may make a liar out of me for saying that. However, the second bevel on the Nitro V knife is also takes a lot longer. So if I could use a fresh belt on each side for everything I do, it would be better. Not always in a position to do that. Right now I am, because I'm not going to need any brand new 36 grit belt for a couple of weeks. knocking that, you think, man, it should take but a couple more passes to get this thinner. But remember, to get this thinner, you're having to remove all of that. You're having to make the entire bevel thinner. It takes a little longer than you think it will. Or you could be lazy and just do a saber grind. Get it super thin. And after your first start, when you're at 40, 50 thousandths. Now I do have to dip more often. When it gets that thin, it gets hot really quick. Like I said, this is M4. It's not going to change the temper. It has to be almost red hot. But I don't want to take any chances. That is the hard part. You always have to remind yourself, this isn't your knife. It's going to be somebody else's knife. Oh yeah, we're getting close now. I could easily stop right now and leave it 30 thou behind the edge. There's nothing wrong with that. Definitely make for a stronger knife. M4 is pretty strong anyway. If you try with my knives, you're a fucking idiot. The only knives you can try with, you can go over to Scab's channel. Find all kind of samples. There's a works up here, a couple of them right over there. I can try all day with that. But this will outcut it 10 to 1. Guys, one other thing I have to do tomorrow when I'm between making cheese, I have to sharpen all those knives myself. Well, most of them, not all of them. The ones that people in the community have bought are going to Kyle. Anything I take to Tennessee that doesn't sell will also go to Kyle, so that you get that same excellent edge. I can't even see the edge anymore. Yeah, that's perfect. When I say I can't see the edge anymore, I mean the little flat part where I scribed my center line. It don't even exist anymore. I don't know if Brian Kim straightens all these for me. If they warp, we've never discussed it, but I've never got a knife from him that I laid on this jig that didn't lay there perfectly flat. So maybe I've been lucky. I don't know. Cleaning up that mill scale before it goes into action. Every aspect of knife making comes out better if you clean it up, sand it some. Even the acid wash is more even if you get it all sanded. Alright, let me find my little wire. With the fork, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. That styrofoam box over there has got my dinner in it. It's fried chicken. The reason I bring food to the shop, I wasn't hungry. But by the time I get off it, I get done here, I will be, and nothing will be open. And it is ruined. I'll let it sit up there and ant scott it. Can't win them all. I really can't believe you guys are still here. Shane, Brian, and Kyle, hell of a collab. I appreciate that, Paul. Whataburger's open 20. You're right, Jason. I just hate driving to Tala. It's way out of my way. Not only that, but every time I drive through Attala, that's A-T-T-A-L-L-A, Alabama, guys. Attala. The news out of state typically calls it Attala when something happens. But every time I drive through that town, I instantly feel a little depressed. I think it's because it's where my ex-wife lives, where I used to live with her, so maybe I've just got a poor impression of Attala because of that. But I may not have any choice. I bet you there was 10,000 ants in that chicken box. I haven't even seen ants in this shop. I bring food in here one time and it gets invaded. But I ate one piece of it earlier. It was only one piece of chicken left, so. Oh. Sit down and take a break with you guys for a minute. Paul, I just scrolled back up and saw your comment. I get that, but I still want to make you something that's super, super thin and slicey that started out with that intention. That was kind of my fault. You know, I don't think I think being kind of new in this too, I didn't steer you in the right direction. I should have told you, hey man, instead of that, you know, let's make you something else out of thinner stock to begin with. But you know, I appreciate that you like it, and I'm sure it is slicey. But you know, anybody that bought from me this early on, you know, I'm always going to try to take care of them in the future. And you know, I think you would have been way happier with one of my creek bed models, that bird and trout, because it's still a full size knife. You know, but man, the cutting ability of it is just so much better because it's 3/32 stock to begin with, so it just gets down. Yeah, Todd, this entire county is, especially where I live in Rainbow City, you can go anywhere in Rainbow City and dig a 1 foot deep hole and you'll strike millions of sugar ants. I don't know if that's what they're really called. That's what people around here call them, sugar ants, but they and I don't know if it's because of their attraction to sugar, but they don't really bite. I mean, you can get them to bite you. It doesn't hurt. It's nothing like a fire ant, and they're about half the size of a fire ant. They're tiny. And when you dig a hole in Rainbow City, within 5 minutes, it will be full of millions of them. Whew. Jeffrey Dawson. I got to get Jeffrey's knife milled off too. Well, no, Jeffrey's I've got to get the sheath made for tomorrow and then get it milled off. Bobo's is actually ready to go to Kyle. I'll be honest with you guys, sometimes there's a little bit of a delay because as low as my profit margins are, I can't afford to ship a single knife to Kyle to have it sharpened. So I have to kind of get a batch of 3 or 4 of them finished and ready to go to him. I hope to figure out a way to improve that in the future so that you guys aren't waiting as long. But, you know, if I tack $10 shipping to every knife that I make, I'm down to making nearly nothing. But, you know, if I can ship 5 of them, well, then it was only $2. Paul, if you guys want I'll have to look and see what's available. I don't know where you're looking, but I know K390 comes in odd sizes at Alpha. Like you can get it super thin, but it's weird. It's like at one thickness, you have to get it 2 inches wide, and then you step up to just the next thickness, and you may have to buy it 5 inches wide. It's weird how they force you into buying sizes you don't really want or need just to get the thickness that you want. But keep in mind, if you guys are wanting the joke wolves at 3/32, I wouldn't feel right going any thinner than that, but I'm going to hollow grind those. I have a small contact wheel, so on a 3/4 inch tall knife, I can hollow grind it. So you'll be able to get that super thin behind the edge, even if it was 1/8 inch thick. But I would go with the 3/32 if they have it. Which I think is around the 0.105 or something like that. Little black ants are the most prevalent here, and carpenter ants, which are big and make their nest in damp wood. I don't think I've seen a whole lot of carpenter ants around here. But Todd, I don't want to say we don't have damp wood, but it's not like the Pacific Northwest. Fire ants are bad in the South. You know, they're big red ants, and dude, they bite you. That shit, it burns for an hour, you know, because of their toxins. But these little tiny black ants, they will bite you, and it stings for just a second. But I mean, you'll have 1,000 of them. You can stick your hand in there and have 1,000 of them on you, and maybe 1 or 2 of them bite you. It's nothing like a fire ant does. And where are you at again, Todd? Who's we got Dreamstay family. Hello, Dreamstay family. Right now you're just looking at a fat dude sitting outside in the swing. I've been making knives all night on this video for the last 3 hours, and I've taken a break, so you may have jumped in at an odd time. New Brunswick, Canada. Okay. Who is it that lives in Australia that's always in the community? Is that Josh? Who's Australian? The Australian we got around here. That's Josh Worth, right? Isn't Josh Worth in Australia? Now I got them little black ants on me now. They all over me just from picking that box up. Knife Inquisitor and Josh Worth, okay. My mama said fire ants. Your mama was right, Jeffrey Dawson. Fire ants are the devil. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me at all if one day all the fire ants came together and just started morphing into Satan himself. One of 3 Joshes, right. Yeah. Because I know Josh has issues getting stuff shipped, and Todd, you've had pretty good luck with your shipping though, with Justin shipping you everything, haven't you? Seems like you guys have figured out the recipe to getting everything shipped into Canada without too much issue. Unless there's been issues that I don't know about. Guys, I can feel them little sumbitches all over me. I'm sure they're not, but I can feel them. There's one right there. There's one right there. So maybe they are all over me. I don't even know what time it is. If I've been on here 3 hours, I bet it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. But I'm almost done. We're fixing to go in and take that blade out of acid wash and neutralize the acid, and I'm going to shut it down for the night. So I'll have 1 knife to put scales on tomorrow. 9 knives no, I'm sorry. 7 knives to sharpen and 9 knives to make sheaths for. And then hopefully Friday, I won't have anything to do, so I can get ready for my trip. It's a 4.5 hour drive, and because I'm a night owl, I'm probably just going to leave out at like 3 in the morning and get there. Justin does Mimo. I used to be Lefty, but now it's Kyle. Haven't lost a knife yet. Okay. Huh. Well, Todd, I always thought, that's strange. I always thought Justin sent you your stuff. But I'm old, I'm forgetful, so. Ugh. That should have been plenty of time. That knife ought to be blacker than Kyle's soul at this point. Got a little walking pooch, y'all hear that? There's another one. There's another one. I got the walking pooch at Blade Show a couple years ago in front of the Sherwood Groff booth. I took 17 steps and farted all 17 steps. So it was 17 walking poots in a row, and I've never been more proud of myself. Yes, sir, this is my workplace. This is where I make knives. Like I said, you've kind of joined the live stream at an odd time. I'm about to shut it down, but I'll just show you, since you stopped by, I'll show you what we've been working on tonight, what we've accomplished. I make custom knives, and here's some of what I've got ready tonight and yesterday. But they're all in different stages of done. All those still like that final polish and clean up. Let me get this back in here so I can handle that. Sorry if I make you guys motion sick walking around like this, but I don't have a photographer. I don't have any, I don't even have a camera. I just got a cell phone. So here is the knife blank all covered in uric acid. You just spray it down with Windex. The ammonia in the Windex instantly neutralizes that acid. You want to neutralize it. If you don't, even after you rinse it off, if it's still got acid in the pores of the steel, it'll continue eating away at it and cause it to rust. I mean, technically you could leave it in there long enough that it could cause, you know, it could just break down the steel and ruin it. So that's got it neutralized. We'll go get it washed off. See what she looks like. God, it zoomed way in on my, what, did I do something? I don't remember it being that zoomed in. I had to hit something. Just typically not that zoomed. And of course, I don't know how to change it. Let me rinse this off right quick, guys. See if I can show y'all what I was talking about. After you rinse it, you see how it's kind of grayish looking? Jesus, that's zoomed way in. I meant to wipe it off and you'll see it. It'll look different. After you wash it off, it's jet black. Guys, I guess I'm going to end it because I don't know how to take it off this zoom that I've apparently turned on somehow. And I got to clean up and get ready for another few hours tomorrow night. And this weekend, going to Camden, Tennessee to the Self-Reliance Festival. Hopefully be able to enjoy myself a little bit and no work. God, I forget how ugly I am sometimes. All right, guys, I appreciate it, man. That's 3 hours. I appreciate you guys hanging with me. We'll see y'all later.